course, supplementary course, which the architecture students can come go and study and practice. Like we have photography, the textile, all different courses are being provided also. Please next please. This a view of the court in School of Arts. This is the library block, especially design skin for the library block. And the access towards the library block, we have stairs, escalators, and a ramp. Ramps are connected from the faculty blocks towards the library.
Run through the slides. You can put up a slide which you would like to have it there.
And then add-ons and other things. You can utilize those terms for your thinking process. But the geometry or the graphics or
this is my time to speak. The entire structure or architecture of this is done through evolution process.
The whole structure. So what I meant was the idea, like it's because of the gene codons, which creates a genetic character, what makes me different from another person. It's the gene coding. So basically, so similarly, what I'm dealing with architecture here is like in architecture, it's same, it's stable. Like we might not have the time to actually practice our own personal interests. So getting these add-ons also into the campus. It's like if you practice music and dance. If I have a personal interest towards dance, if I practice dance while I'm studying architecture also, I actually develop a new style of architecture indirectly.
So orient us to that. Okay, and also if you can start from the fact that how, like when you introduced your site and your site context, from where are you actually entering this site? Okay, how are you approaching? How do you see a person coming in? Okay, like who is not an architect, who has nothing to do with architecture, okay, who is generally a layman who comes into the system. You can explain me this, that would be interesting, as well as the overall circulation of the system and how through the circulation these three things. One is your very private areas, then is the architecture college, and then is the public interface, how they come together. You understood my question?
Yeah. Is this not the institutional zone? So they are actually tempted to go in, and in front itself is a public open lawn, an open park. Actually, the public can come and use and sit. So it's like a public whole area, recreational area all around. So getting tempted by the building, by the structure, they actually place the works of art and architecture in and around the area, and they actually go around the whole design. Actually, also I've taken consideration of the floor pattern. So the floor pattern actually tells the user and tells the user like where to go, how to go, in what intensity also. So in actually the circles actually tells the user we'll have to go in circles and see the whole display around, and they actually jump into the next circle, and last they end up in the cafe. So we have
Cafe is that side.
my cafe is just behind this. It'll be seen in the plan. So it's linked, and in the circulation pattern which is in the plan which I showed in the first, you actually see each user, like if it's an architect coming on an architect aspect, they actually go inside, and this over here is the architect's studio code. So they have the open workshop over here, and they have practicing studios over here. So the user, if it's a client, they actually go inside and they actually go into the architect studio first. And as they come out, they actually find the time to enter the design shops which are placed beneath the seminar hall complex. So they actually buy some stuff, or they can just go and see out, and then they jump into the interactive hall. So it's like a magnet. It goes around and you end up outside. So in case if you want to visit the institution zone, you have the spine, the red ramp. You climb the ramp and you reach the first level of the faculty block, and then you come back to this. So this actually acts as a buffer zone for in each thing, in privacy as well as in sound, everything.
And where is your design street?
My design street comes over here, on the ground level of the faculty block. So as you enter over here, the institute zone, or from if you're entering from the public zone, you can actually come through this way and go to the design street. Over here, you actually go inside, and then you see that wall, 8-meter wall, and which tells you where to go, design street, or just come directly in the institute. So the wall is over here, and as you enter the design street, this acts as a shortcut as well as a time saver. You actually don't get bored. The first years and second years and School of Art students actually don't get bored as they travel all along to their classes. So actually they get the time to see the designs, the displays, and third years over here. And this is a library block. This is actually in hold for the whole institute, for the faculty block. So it actually accommodates more than 3,000 volumes. So it's just only for architecture, art and architecture books. So each level from the faculty, this over here. This is the workshops. So actually, workshops, they have a view inside towards the campus and as well as outside the campus. So they get an open area to work on hands-on workshop outside, and then you have the recreation zone.
Okay. Second question. Okay. I'm quite intrigued by the idea that you use the public forum and you say that architecture needs to be a part of the public realm. Okay. Did you get inspired into the public realm in any way? Okay. There's absolutely no discussion on architecture by the people. People might go to see a music program or maybe a dance program, but never architecture. Okay. So, did you get inspired from somewhere to put architecture into the public realm?
Actually, no. I mean, I didn't see anywhere.
Came to you, just as a thought. Came to just as a thought. I think it's a brilliant idea. Absolutely brilliant idea. Okay. And why I say so because I think that's what today architecture requires. I think architecture should be done as a public policy in India. Because very few debates about architecture happen with the people. Okay, even when our cities and all our things are growing and spoiling these beautiful surroundings that you have here, okay, there's very less debate about architecture. So I think that's a brilliant attempt. Okay, having said that, you seem to have a huge control over your architectural, organizational systems. I think it's quite an interesting approach that you have taken to take in control of all these three areas, and I think it's a very good attempt.
Thanks, sir.
Behind, we're ahead of you. And I think that is the question that we need to ask ourselves, and to be confident in our own self. And because you have an understanding of putting things together, right? And we don't want to even question that. Yes, I think we all have problems with everybody seeming to have about 50% area of the building as parking, which is a reality which seems to be hitting everybody in the face. Do we want to question that? Do we want to say, how do we handle this problem? Does our project or do we simply say parking is a certain requirement, we just have to fulfill it? Are we going to address this as part of an architectural problem or leave it to somebody else to worry about? So at that level, I think we should really, I have a problem with, do we have to have the same imagery? Do we have the same, don't we have our own histories? Don't we have our own potentials? Don't we have our climate? Don't we have our habits? And why are we worried and not confident about
the project, is the fact that how it is able to attract a person from the street into the building. Okay, the thing is that I've seen it attracting children who just come there and play with Lego blocks, and that's their first experience to architecture. It's not about big thinks about like what are architectural projects about, it's nothing to do with that. It's about the act of building. And that happens while you are crossing a street, you enter the exhibition area. Okay, why? Because I think that's something by which you can structure the front. The front is the problem, like the way you put in parking. And that's not with only you, I think all the projects through don't seem to have a critical understanding. We don't need parkings like that, we need people. We need people in your front space. So you should look into this building. The Netherlands Institute of Architecture is in Rotterdam. Okay, and you should see how it can take in people, how it can actually interact with the city.
I mean, to add to that, when you look at that building, please remember to understand the process in which it meets the people, not the image of the building.
Yeah.
I think we have to understand the processes in which the buildings work. Okay?
What everything said and done, still I feel like there are artists like Pablo Picasso, or even you take Maqbul Fida Hussain. First they mastered, is an advanced thing. You got to master this, you have to have basic skills of understanding the structure, basic skills of services, basic skills of dealing with the solutions. Then as an advanced thing, you start with all that. That is what is my opinion about it.
When he says conventional, he means functions. He means
Functional.
proximity.
The design
He does not mean
the structure, I mean the whole image.
clarity.
Thank you. A lot of interest generated. I think because with all the interruption and break that we had in between, we can just take a very, yeah? Okay, we will pass it and then go ahead to the next one. Huh?
One small doubt. The design the studio which you designed first year, second year, third year, fourth year, you said that they will interact first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year. What about first year and fifth year?
What a first year needs is a strong interaction with the second years, because second years have undergone the first year, the first year. So they have a clean idea like how the starting steps of in architecture. If they deal with the first fifth years directly, it's quite complicated, because the fifth years they think right now is like they undergone practical training. So they would be seeing it in another eye. Okay, their vision on architecture, they'll go into details much. So they can't give you a clean idea for the first years. For the second years, they can actually give you the base of the beginner stage. So they're actually developing their own style. Hope I answered your question.
Congratulations. And I think you are much high-fi.
Okay, just a minute. I didn't get. Because this was the first question from the audience, I would like you to pick up the next clip. First introduce yourself and then
I am not an architect. I am an artist. My name is Kenyana Surya. I am assistant professor in McGAN'S School of Architecture.
that is good, but I will request you to pick up the next, please.
Steam metabolism at crossroads. Safia.
Safia. We will begin the next presentation. For the jury members, please to note, the participant is Jackson and his project is Exposition Center and Coaching.
Extensions of the marketplaces. We have all kinds of these exhibitions from the very primitive stage, and from those marketplaces they evolve to the traditional trades, and from those trades to the modern exhibitions it didn't took much of time. And exhibit means to choose, display, show, inform or represent a subject, idea or concept. Its objective is to impart whatever knowledge it can to the public. It's a medium of communication and of expression. exhibitions are important events, and some of the very big exhibitions becomes expositions. They become large international exhibitions. And there are various kinds of exhibitions. They can be classified into two. One is like on the basis of nature, and the other on the basis of content. An exposition center is a single place which plays host to several industries ranging from garment industry to food industry to entertainment industry. They are glorified marketplaces. The basic idea is to promote business, a public space for social interaction. And the major activities in an exhibition center happens in the exhibition halls, the convention centers, the conference complex, the auditoriums, etc. In India Trade Promotion Organization, that is ITPO, manages the premier exhibition centers in India and which are constantly getting upgraded. And the exhibition complex, what is the main purpose of an exhibition complex is to offer a kind of ambience that is conducive to a variety of exhibitions, that it should be able to cater to different kinds of exhibitions within a single complex. And there are very different kinds of exhibitions like the IT exhibition, communication, environment, machine tools, power, petroleum, water, and so on. To the peninsular India. And many port-oriented activities are happening. Yeah. And the feasibility part.
It's okay. It's your priority. You want to talk more on the plan or more on the...
Comes here in the whole part of Kochi. And the site being taken out, this is the Wellington Island, and the proposed site is being taken up in the Wellington Island because it is located at the periphery of the city, that is away from the city traffic and other congestions of the city, but at the same time it is well connected. One of the another main advantage is that it can be accessed by the waterways. The Kochi has a well developed, the site is located along the banks of the National Waterways 3. So without entering as of now there are two exhibition halls, exhibition centers in Kochi, which are of temporary nature, located at these 2 points. But they seem to not function because of their centrally located within the city limits and decongestion and area-wise. Okay, and while coming to the project, there were different design considerations to which the design was approached, mainly with respect to the landform. The sites, the proposed site has a very peculiar landform that is very triangular in shape and with a water body on all the 3 sides. And the movements of the traffic movement, the people movement, the different kinds of movement the site experiences, and the kind of public spaces that has to be created, and how it responds to the neighborhood as well as the community, the different age group people that they are going to use the space. So the main idea was that to approach the project with these design considerations, that is a landform, movement, public space, the neighborhood and the community. And while developing the form of the building, it's being developed according to the pattern and volume of people density. In an exposition center, we see a large volume of people coming to the space at the same time. So what was done, that created a large central plaza so that the volume of people coming can be accommodated easily in the central plaza. And all the exhibition halls are linearly strip arranged on one side of the site, so that it's easy for the people to identify the exhibition halls and the supporting amenities to the other side. So created a central axis, and that created different important nodes in the site. And another one, as the site is next to the water body, the idea was that to bring the waterfront from the marginal use and bring it to the people, so that it can serve as a vibrant heart of the urban fabric. We have seen that waterfronts have developed as it becomes a place. This is a site, and for an exposition center, we have the main exhibition hall, that's Expo Hall 1, 2, 3 and 4 coming in a linear stripped arrangement towards one side, and the large central plaza and the supporting facilities like the entrance pavilion, the administration block, the food plaza, the conference center, the staging ground, all coming to the other side, so that it's easy for the people to identify where it comes, and the large central plaza that can cater to the large volume of crowd coming at the same time. And here is the main entrance area, and from there you have the traffic going into the parking area. The separate desk space and VIP parkings are provided, and entrance, as soon as you enter the entrance pavilion, you reach the main central plaza, from where you demarcate, from where you move to different exhibition. This is the exhibition hall, this is Expo Hall 1, and here we see a part of the building being raised on stilts so that the more space is being freed on the ground level, and thereby it can create, promote visual interaction as well. And one of the other strategy being followed is that the exhibition spaces need to be used separately and as whole, so that it can cater to small scale as well as large scale exhibitions simultaneously. And at the same time, two exhibitions can happen. In the upper floor, when one exhibition is happening, on the main hall another exhibition can happen. We see that many of the large scale exhibition centers are not affordable by small scale people who are willing to take up an exhibition and conduct. So this kind of separate and combined nature can cater to those. Here we see the building being raised on stilts so that it promotes more visual interaction, clears more space on the ground level, and large uninterrupted space being achieved on the ground floor as well as on the first floor. And lots of abundant natural lighting is being brought through these louvred arrangements and glazed sides as well. We see the roofing pattern being altering in between so that the sides also brings in lots of natural light. This is the exhibition hall 4, and here we have a arch profile that has experiences two different levels. In between you have a glazing coming that brings in lots of natural light, lots of uninterrupted spaces in between. And to this one we have attached seminar hall so that the exhibition as well as the seminar activity can happen simultaneously. This is another exhibition hall. This is exhibition hall 4, and here we see levels playing a very important role in the exhibition hall. We see the people being taken to multiple levels to different areas of the site, and lots of natural light being brought through different glazed openings. And here the seminar hall, which is multi-phase, so that people from outside as well as people in the exhibition can simultaneously use the building. And this is a staging ground which can handle up to 2,500 people at a single time. And this is the conference center and the entrance pavilion. The conference center has two big conference centers, one that can cater up to 900 and 1,400 people, and they are positioned at two different levels, and so that two activities can happen simultaneously, as well as it is provided with a protocol lounge and a food plaza. The food plaza also happens in two different levels and can cater up to 1,200 people at a single time.